Hello, everyone.
Nice.
Wow. the last one, there might be atomic energy. Life goes up, and everything that goes up has to come down. That's life. Everything that goes up has to come down. But we don't have to live with the up and the down. We can live right through the middle of it. And I think that's a lot of what we're learning how to do, is to discover that which is permanent, because it doesn't have to go up and down. And then the other one before it, I hear a call. Now will I follow? And I have to say, yes, I will follow. And I am following, and I have to say it is fucking amazing. I don't use that word very often because I think it's overused, but it's an impactful word, so it's fucking amazing. I hear a call, will I follow? Yes, I will. The other, I was thinking this morning about the book that Herman Hesse wrote, Damien, and there's a prologue to it, a couple pages that have always been so impactful to me. In fact, I named my son after that book because of that prologue. But it says, my story is not a pleasant one. It's the story of struggle. I'm going to use my own adjectives now. Struggle, failure, effort, and courage. And like the lives of all men who have stopped deceiving themselves. And that's the part, the lives of all men that have stopped deceiving themselves. And when you stop doing that, when you get that you have to stop deceiving yourself, then it requires a lot of effort and a lot of courage. So I was, I'm reading this kind of interesting book with Mopani, and it's pretty, it's very analytical and psychological and like that, but there's some really cool stuff in it. And he was describing in this last chapter that we read that about what is an actual act of love. What is actually love? He goes, a few chapters where he's describing what love is actually not, our misconceptions, but what it is. And he said it always takes an effort to go against laziness. And that if you make that effort against laziness, that is an act of love. And that if you go against the restrictions of fear, that's courage. So if you go against the restrictions of fear and you move forward through that, we all feel fear a lot. If you move through that with courage, that is also an act of love. And I was thinking about that last night, servants and heroes. A servant will always be giving, always be putting out the effort to go against whatever the inertia is that creates laziness, to go against that. That's an act of love. And a hero is somebody with courage that can go against the fear of manifesting and being courageous and being who you are. So servants and heroes. So here we are. So he also was saying, that listening takes a lot of effort, is one of those acts of love. And so I experimented with that yesterday, of actually seeing if I could listen to somebody that was talking to me. And it took effort. It's I want so bad to either, I do that too. You take it back to yourself, and all of a sudden you got a ping pong game going. You're back and forth with that. Not listening, or you're talking to yourself, or you want to move on. I was working in the garden. I wanted to move on. Just wanted to keep doing my thing. And but it was really interesting because it took something. It took, I mean, a real effort to make myself stay there. And then even listening to the songs, they're so beautiful. The words are so magnetizing. And still, I want to talk to myself about something. In the middle of one of those songs, it takes something. And I love thinking about that it's an act of love to put out the effort to listen. You know, can you imagine if we actually listened to each other or to whoever is talking? I'm going to try to describe something. I hope it comes out. It's a little challenging to think of actually getting this to come out, but it's something that really struck me. Occasionally, I will take a journey, like either ingest something or smoke something or something to, not for entertainment, not for recreation, not for that, but so that I can learn something. And so I did that last night. Something, not a major something, but something that I was hoping to get a forevision of a feeling of calm. And this particular thing I had heard can help kind of eliminate, temporarily anyway, fear and anxiety and a feeling of calm. And I wanted to have that experience so that then I would, and after that, work to find out what gets in the way of that natural feeling of calm that a natural human being does feel. And so that I was hoping for that and kind of expecting that. And that's not what the forces that be had in mind for me. No, and it went, whoa, wait a minute, that's not what's supposed to happen. And I'm like, I was anxious for a few hours. So it deposited me on the working part. That's fine. I didn't get the other part. That's fine. Maybe some other time. But I got the working part. And so I'm going to describe then what I saw, which will not be a surprise to any of you because you got the view from the outside. So Mopani dropped by soon after that, and so I'm fastidious. I'm like anal. I want things exactly the way I want them. I'm walking this morning past, and I had to pull some of those weeds because those weeds shouldn't be out there. You guys are coming over. We need to get rid of the weeds. So I got a little pile of weeds over there, for example. So Mopani came in and he said, I'm a little hungry, and I wanted him to stay. I wanted some company. So I said, I have a can of soup up in the cupboard, an Amy's split pea soup. Once you open that, you can put it from the can into a cup and then into the microwave and have that. So, okay. So he opens the can, he gets a spoon, he's putting it into one of my glass cups, and he's hitting the spoon to get the split pea soup off the spoon into the cup, and I'm saying, don't hit that cup, you're going to chip that cup. And then he puts something down, don't put that there, put that over there. And I'm like, it's a wonder I can even breathe, And I mean, it's a wonder he can breathe around me, So I'm thinking this fastidiousness, this control, basically. I was, it was magnified. I was getting like a really clear, good view of these moment to moment to moment manifestations that cover my capacity as a natural human being to feel calm without the fear and anxiety of whatever's going on there. So this morning I'm taking a walk and I'm thinking, I got to work on this fastidiousness. And then I thought, That doesn't sound quite right. Because, as Justin has said, I teach awareness. I don't teach you how to work on your issues. That's not what I'm teaching you. I teach you awareness. And through your awareness, you will see everything that you need to see. And then the formula is that once you see it, the dog shit idea, it'll drop away, it will. So that was just like, okay, I don't need to pretend like I'm not fastidious, because I am. It's the up cycle of the down part. So I don't need to see the up cycle. I do that constantly to cover. What I don't see is the coming down part. And the only way that I'm ever going to see that is through awareness. So got to use the tools, right? I mean, it's a very simple formula if we can keep our heads straight about it, because if we see something, of course we want to get rid of it. I don't want to be that way. I am that way, though. I am that way. That is me, and I have to see that, absolutely, and see it. And that's all I have to do with that part of it. The other part is use the tools. Use them, because they will build. They will build something. They will. It's an indirect method. It couldn't have been more clear to me, especially like thinking how to work on my stuff, It's not the formula. I was flying home I went to New York with a couple of my lady friends, and we had a great time in New York City and to do all sorts of far out things. And then I stopped in Ohio to visit my son and granddaughter on the way home. And when I was flying home, on one of the flights, there was an airline stewardess that had a manner that I don't think I've ever seen on an airplane before. A lot of times, these people have a lot to do. They're pushing the cart up and down, they're dealing with people, they got a time thing, they've got all sorts of, things going on. And this woman was so calm. I can still see her face. That's how much it struck me. She had the sweetest face, and she was taking a long time. I felt it, like, I want a soda, isn't it? But she was taking time with each person and making eye contact with them, and she had the sweetest smile and warmth that just, I don't think anything could have thrown her off. Now, I don't know if that was for real or not. I don't really care, because it struck me like what this woman was putting out in the world was warmth, kindness, patience, eye contact, and nothing could throw her off. She just kept the whole aisle. And I watched how people were responding to her, and it was something. It made an effect. And I thought, wow, just that impression is enough for me. I haven't forgotten that. I'd like to be more like that. But, and then the other morning, a bunch of us watched the slide presentation, the video presentation that we put on in Sacramento, and then we put it on here, and that had the same effect. That watching that masterful compilation of the social work trips over the years, and just the children's faces at the end with the puppets, and just so impactful. And I thought, if we put that on somewhere, it's kind of like that woman on the airplane. It's like, just put it out in the world. Look at the effect that it can have on people. If nothing else, that's enough to put that out there. We have this thing. Just like this woman somehow had whatever capacity she had, no matter where it came from. She might go home and, beat her children or something. I don't know, but she had something and she put it out there, and I thought, it's kind of, it was so beautiful. It's like that's all it takes, and so it's kind of what I'm thinking. It would be nice to. The idea is that those capacities of the capacities of a natural human being, that are so covered up by all of the fear and anxiety and inertia and the things that we have to deal with as humans that we've accumulated along the way, to know that through awareness that all that covering could actually drop away, and it could for real be somebody that's capable of actually loving, of being actually patient, actually empathetic, sympathetic, would actually able to listen, actually somebody who could put out into the world something that maybe counters, I think does counter the other stuff going on in the world. And even if that's not the aim, that happens, that the uncovering of a natural human being, what a beautiful thing to be a part of, So I hear the call. Will I answer? Yes. Yes, I will answer that call. And I am answering that call. Because my story's not a pretty one. But I am not, I'm into not deceiving myself anymore. And it does take getting there and being okay with it. Being able to laugh at yourself. Being able to humble yourself, being able to go under, being able to admit what you see, not turn away, courage, put out the effort, not being afraid of putting out effort.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Wow, Tish, that was really incredible. She used the word courage a few times. I thought I was going to come up with it to describe her, but then I heard her say it again, and I was like, oh wow, she's using that word. But like to see the courage that it takes, that she has to move through this life with what we're given. Flies in the kitchen, how many years do we suffer through? How the hell can you go to work all day and come home and have nothing to say? We've lived that story, and by all means, we would be entitled to have a good life where we could be distracted from the consequences of that on our nervous system, on our lives, and just like to live the good life. And here's someone who's like at this stage in the game saying it's not okay with me to just cruise. I'm going for it more. I'm going for it more. I'm going for it more. And that's just like fucking incredible. Just off the charts. You don't see that. You just don't see that. And we have a collection of people to whatever degree are actually doing that. It's not like, that's kind of the common theme that keeps us, that unites us, is that there's some like, okay, life has given me what it's given me, but I'm not going to settle. I'm going to go try and take it a step further, a step further, a step further, and just really go for it. And wow. It's kind of overwhelming to look out and see. We say we're a small group, but to see this many people that have that attitude is like, whoa, it's like a waterfall right now. It's like a waterfall coming over me, and to like, what a blessed to be a witness of that right now, because I don't always witness that. It's so easy to witness in the day-to-day. It's like, oh my God, leave the things and it's like, there's always the day-to-day of whatever it is, even if it's good stuff, and then we watch the show that we put on 2 years ago, and suddenly you like step back and you see, oh my God, what am I part of? There's day to day to day to day, and then you step back a little bit, like in this meeting, you step back a little bit and witness this person, step back a little bit more and watch this show of what we've done what this collective has done over 30 years, and it's just like, whoa, oh my God, it's shocking. I forgot. It's like Tom Hanks in the movie, and he's on the luggage and the moon's really big, and he's like, oh my God, I forgot how big it was, weeping. It's like that. And I know I need to be reminded of that. I mean, we need to be reminded of that like so much. I don't know if there's like a limit, if we've reached a limit yet of how much reminding that we need of that it's so big. And not only that it's so big, that this I pictured this before, this group before, is like, they have these little, in the river, you'll see these little bugs. They're just tiny, and there's like 100 of them, and they're all in one little cluster doing this. And the river's going by, and it splashes them, and then they'll come back together. And they hang out in this little pod together. They create a little bubble around them, and sometimes it's like the river's just like splash, splash, splash. They spread, and they come back, and there's this like, this meniscus of fluid that's holding them, that keeps them coming back together, and it's surviving the forces of the river, and that's happening here. And to not step back a little bit and take a view of that, the forces that have made us and the forces that are working against us all the time, and that we have this I'll use the word petri dish, where something's growing, something protected can grow, that's not going to be necessarily infected by other forms of something. So phew, thanks, Tish. Thanks for being that courageous person to represent that. I've been exploring this idea of four visions, connecting why do four visions, how do they stay connected, how do we keep them, how do we lose them, how do we keep them, what's the thread of them, not get fooled by them, but like not let them, the thread of them disappear. And I've probably spoken about some of this stuff before, but I think it's worth talking about because I've been exploring it new in my own head and outside. So just see if we can go new. And if you hear the word guitar, like, oh, good, he's talking about that again. Anyway, so I was on a cruise, I don't know, when was that? 8 months ago or something like that, 6 months, 7 months ago, and had nothing to do for 2 weeks. And I had a guitar, and I was like, play this guitar, play this guitar, play this guitar, played, and just had this incredible breakthrough in playing and singing that was just like, oh my God, that is inside me. Like, that's there inside me. And I knew it was a four vision because it was like all these circumstances lined up for me to have this experience of having the time. And so And then I came home, and not only did I know, I mean, I had a clear feeling of that forevision and the effort it takes to put myself in the circumstances to be available to that forevision. And it was really clear that it was going to take a lot of efforts. And then I come home, I get in an accident, and I can't even lift my arm over the thing. It's like months later till I get back to the guitar, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing this thing, and I'm just like doing the scales and the putting on the metronome, you know. It's like do 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 do. It's so hard. It was so hard for a long time. It's still difficult, but this metaphor I think really plays through. So just messing up in the beginning, messing up, and not even having a clear path forward of what's going to sound good. But knowing I want to get to this place, and it's a steel string guitar I'm playing on now, so it's like I want to strum like Dylan, that's hard to do. You start strumming like that, and that's like learning the violin or something, you know, and people don't want to be around. You shouldn't be around people too much. It's making a lot of noise, you know, you're going through a lot of gyrations of noises that are just like not pleasant, even to yourself. It's like, can I put on earplugs and go through this? No, you have to listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. And you have to listen to yourself sounding terrible for a long time. I can see why it's like for some people it probably has come easy. You grew up with something of it, some talent, something, you know, whatever it was. That was not me. It was not easy, no talent. So, okay, let's get back to this metaphor. So like a month of really struggling with this, putting on the metronome and following it and trying to stay with it and not being able to stay with it and going, I should be able to stay at 100 beats per minute. That's pretty slow. No, 80, 70. Oh, 70 beats a minute. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that's where I am. And then, but like a month of that and not really having a clear path forward of like if this is gonna get better. But every once in a while there's something that's a little bit better. It's like, oh, a little taste of something better. Okay. So then after about a month of that, it was like I developed a feeling or an idea of like these different categories of practice that I could move forward in. One of them is just practicing picking, flat picking, back and forth, up and down, alternate picking. And pretty soon I'm like starting at 100 beats a minute in my practice and I'm moving up to 130, and that's like, holy shit. I hit 160 the other day. So it was like, okay, that's making some movement. Now then there's this like strum, boom, chicka, boom with the strumming, which is, you know, all that noise and stuff, and figuring out the noise and getting the pattern right and getting the timing right and all the stuff that has to go in to get. I'm just holding one chord over here, not even trying to get another. Aaron was there the first time I was busting that out. I was like 80 beats a minute. I couldn't even stay on it. It's just like, so a month later, it's like, boom, stay in there. So there's the plucking and then the chord and then the strumming rhythm, and then there's like figuring out some kind of riffs back and forth, adding this finger in and like that too. I haven't even got to bringing the singing back into it. There's so many elements to like, but I have a path forward of like, okay, if I sit down, if I do these 3 things so far, 4 things, I put the time in, because yesterday or 2 days ago, it was like suddenly I was doing stuff that was like, oh, I don't know who's doing, that's really amazing that that's happening. That's really nice. And people have said, well, yeah, it starts to snowball a little bit. And some people are saying, wow, it's sounding decent over there. And I know that the comparison from to like it's probably like a praise, blame. You're sounding. You're not like. I'm not shutting the door on you every minute. But learning the guitar, for some reason, it's really real to me. It has some tangible vibrations in the real world to it, and it's tangible and it's real and it's difficult, but it's tangible, it's real. And this exploration could be with anything really. It could be learning how to work the new DR, because you're like, you got those adjustments and stuff, and you want to economize your movements and learn, and so there's a lot to it, a lot subtlety that goes into cooking, that can go into driving, if we pay attention to driving, which I'm really paying attention to driving now. It's probably more than since I was a teenager. It's like there's a lot to it, and it's not something to just put ourselves on automatic and do. It's like, whoa. But this exploration could be with any tangible thing that we do and we pursue, because we pursue what's real to us. And I think for most of us, the spiritual pursuit, the pursuit of consciousness, the pursuit of deeper awareness, of presence, of understanding where we're coming from, what's operating us any given moment, that pursuit is real to everybody here, to all of us to some degree. But I think it's really hard for any of us to have it be as real as something like pursuing learning the guitar, or pursuing learning a DR, or pursuing getting things done, or pursuing fine-tuning and editing videos, or pursuing putting on an event, or any of the things that's really tangible to us. Those things are so much more tangible to us. And so the exploration, the question is, how does this other pursuit, which is Justin said it this morning, he says the only real pursuit, not to denigrate or we should be somewhere else where we're not, but it's the only actual real pursuit. Everything else is made up. Everything else is made up. I'm just quoting him. Everything else is a made-up pursuit, a man-made pursuit, made-up, woman-made pursuit, and this pursuit of greater consciousness is the only real pursuit that humans have available to us. Whoa. Okay, how much is that my reality versus the other stuff? And I think it's a gift to be able to and the other part of it is the gift of being able to have a forevision of something, and then have the string that goes back to it, like with the guitar, that went back to it, that kept me back at it, and was like, okay, I saw that forevision, I felt that what's in me, and now I know even the first month wasn't quite sure, but I'd still had this feeling that it's going to take me somewhere if I keep putting into it. And similarly, during the time period of when my life was disrupted from being in a brain injury and body injury, when I couldn't escape using the presence tools because that was what was available to me to do. There wasn't much else available for me to do, so it was like I was hanging on to that, and then I had some forevisions of like what that kind of effort can offer, what that kind of thing can offer. And it was, and it is, because there's still a thread going back to it. The most important thing, the most real thing, the most highest thing, the most awesome thing, what Tish was saying, it's like I hear a call, I gotta go for it, I gotta go for this thing. Right now it's like a little thread going back. It's a little thread. so similar to the guitar, we have this different thing, different approaches that if we, I don't want to say perfected, but if we practiced, there's the one tool there of your hand over here, what it's doing, either this or this. There's another tool, which is this hand, what it's doing, and it does different things. There's another tool, which is them going together and playing a melody or something like that. There's tools, there's also the idea of like, we're not growing unless we're trying something new stuff. We're into new territory. It's not like, oh, just practice what I learned before and I'm good. It's like, no, keep moving into new territory with these tools and stuff. And so I feel like I'm starting to fade a little bit, because the exploration that it's led me to so far right now is like right at this moment that's probably not as clear of where it's going to go with the guitar as it is with the guitar or other material things that I have in mind. But it's real enough that I want to speak about it and make it real and try and pay attention to my life. Like Tish was saying, we can't really try and change our lives directly too much. There's some experiments you can change around and mess with things a little bit, but really to just pay attention to what it is that I'm drawn to, how I'm spending my time, what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking about, because that will give me the information about what's real in front of me. Oh, I got it. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. I was like, okay, if you just talk long enough. So there's this new, just give me a second. So we've all had, of anyone who's been around here a while has had 4 visions of what's possible, and so then the question is, what happens to that thread, that feeling, that memory, that golden thread that can go back to it? What happens to that? Where does it go? And it's like interesting thing. It just goes away. It does go away. It gets crowded out. Maybe it's still there, but it gets crowded out by all the other interest, and then it's like, what was that thing I was looking for again? What was that thing? And then it's gone, and we've been held down in this environment. We've been all of us have been in a position of being held down enough because of circumstances, either by Justin or a friend, or because we're all doing this thing together or whatever, just because we have a dynamically supported group. We're held down for a minute and allowed to witness something a little finer about ourselves and have that forevision. But then it goes away. So why does it go away? What happens when... I'm just going to get to the point, because I don't know what happens, why it goes away. But the thing that I'm thinking about, and we talked about this morning, is like, and the question is like, if we saw some video or some A-list movie or A-list song and we heard it and it's not like living with us, why isn't it living there anymore? Is it because that it got crowded out by other things and we were maybe tricked into hearing it the first time or the second time or the third time? And so maybe that we need to like steep ourselves in everything. I need to steep myself in everything again, all the movies, the songs, the satsangs, just really go back to the beginning and hear them again with these new eyes and new ears, basically based on my interest and my willingness to do the scales. Not because some group leader said you should do this, or teachers do this, or now we're all doing this together, but because I know from that thread that that's something that I have to remember, I have to bring to be real in my life. So so back to the basics, getting steeped, and finding out what are all these elements here for me. What do they mean? What do they mean for us? So that's what I'm thinking about, and probably could do better to describe it or wrap it up better, but I see if there's anything else I want to say. Now, I have a feeling about some things about this me talking up here is like some of it was like a lot less I, and some of it, even though I said I, was just a touch of I, and some of it was more I. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And, having taste of that phenomenon, and even the good ones, getting a little sick of, it's like I. So, leave it at that.